Hello and welcome again to another The One Ring Foundry VTT tutorial. Today we're going to go over virtues and rewards. Rewards and virtues are something that will increase as you increase your valor and wisdom. When you begin your character, you will get one of each. And then every time you increase your valor, you can choose a new reward. And every time you increase your wisdom, you can choose a new virtue. For the beginning character, there are only a certain number of common virtues, but once you increase your wisdom to 2 or higher, you can choose a specific cultural virtue, depending on what culture your character is. Let's go over the specifics of what they do, but more importantly, how to integrate it into Foundry. This is probably the biggest stumbling block that people find when they are first running the One Ring on Foundry. There is documentation about how to do this, and that's where you will find the answers, but I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do it on here. So the first thing you want to do is let's look at the different rewards. And so there are 6 that are available when you start out. There's Close Fitting, Cunning Make, Fell, Grievous, Keen, and Reinforced. Now, some of these you will have to make an active effect, but most of them you will actually just make a change to the character sheet. So let's look at Close Fitting. So Close Fitting, when you make a protection roll while wearing a close fitting armor or helm, you add +2 to the result. Now, in order to do close fitting, what you have to do is you don't need to do anything on the actual system you don't do it to the individual to the character sheet. You do it to the individual item, armor or helm. So from close fitting, we need to add an active effect, and to do this you will click on effects. Now I already have this on here, so I'll show you how to do it. You would click on the plus and then it would make a new effect. Since I already have an effect on here, let's just go over what I had. But you would make a new effect. I call it close fitting. So just put in the title and then go to effects. And from here you will click on the scroll down bar and choose armor protection. Then add and 2. And when you've got that on there, hit submit changes. And now this is saved as a close fitting reward. But now you have to attach it to a specific piece of armor. So let's go ahead and do that. So if I go into my items and go to equipment, we can go to armor. Let's make a close fitting helm. So what I can do, I already have a current helm here. I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to change this one so it doesn't say copy, it will say close fitting. So now this is my close fitting helm. You actually have to add this on here. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to call this close fitting. If I can type close fitting. Then we go to effects, and then we will add an effect right here. We will select the protection, armor protection, and add 2. And then we will submit the change. And now this armor has close fitting attached to it. So if I take a character like Drogo Baggins, and his armor is currently 1D for a leather shirt. If I add that helm of close fitting onto his character and equip it, it will grant him that effect on here. So it adds 2 to the protection roll. You can see that's right here on the character. If I had added the armor first and then put on the effect, nothing would have happened. So that's the way to do close fitting. Now he doesn't have close fitting, so I'm going to delete that from him. And you have to Alt delete on the character sheet. So that's close fitting. if we do cunning make, what cunning make does was reduce the load of the selected item by 2. Now this one I don't have to do an active effect. All I could do is I could take a helm and I can reduce the load right here from 4 to 2. And that's it. That's all you have to do. And you could put that on the character. You could actually have this on the character to begin with and then change that number. However, if it is an active effect, you have to set it on the armor and then drag and drop the armor onto the character. So that is cunning make. That one's easily done. Fell adds 2 to the injury rating of the weapon. If I go to a weapon, all I need to do, in fact, I can just pull up Drogo's character, and if he had fell, I could go to his short sword. I could edit it, and I can change his injury rating right here from 16 to 18, and that's all I would have to do, and that would add fell to his sword. So I don't need to set up an active effect for fell. If we look at Grievous, this adds 1 to the damage rating. It's the same thing. I would go to his short sword if he has the Grievous reward and the damage is 3, I would change that to 4, and then that would make that one function in the game. Keen is an active effect. So attack rolls made with a keen weapon score a piercing blow and a result of 9 on the feat die. So I would need to make an effect, and I have a keen item here. Let's go ahead and pull that up and I'll show you how to do it. Again, you need to make this on the weapon before you put it on the character. So here's a keen bow. So just make a bow and then go to effects and select keen, or you would add the effect and then you would make keen the effect, and then the effect's going to be weapon piercing blow, add -1, and then submit the changes. And now that weapon, when you drag and drop it onto a character, will have that property. The last reward is reinforced. Add 1 to your shield's parry bonus. Now this one is likewise an active effect. And so you would make a shield, and I would call it reinforced shield. Make the effect, and then what you're going to have is parry modifier, add 1. Save it, and then drag and drop it onto the character sheet, and they will now have reinforced. So rewards are what you get when you increase your valor. When you increase your wisdom, you will take on a virtue. And the virtues, it's the same idea. Confidence. Raise your maximum hope score by 2 points. And all you have to do for confidence is just go on and manually change that on the character sheet. You don't need to add an active effect. You can do prowess. This one is different. In fact, you can see I have 3 spots for prowess. I have heart, strength, and wits, because they will affect one of the attributes, and it's easiest just to make one for each of them and then drag which one the character wants onto that sheet. So let me show you how to make one of those. You would have prowess. You would go to the effects. You would add the effect. I call it prowess heart, so I know that it's heart. If you click on effects, heart target number, add -1. You do the same thing for strength and wits. Just do strength's target number and wits target number, add -1. And then once that is made, you can drag and drop prowess onto the character sheet. The next one that we can look at, dour-handed. Dour-handed needs 2 effects on it. So you would have an item for dour-handed. Under the effects, this affects heavy blows and pierce. And so you can just add the effect 1 time, but you'll add 2 effects to this. So I have heavy blow damage, add 1. Pierce, add 1. And then submit the effects, and when you drag and drop that onto a character, it becomes active. Another one that we can do is hardiness and nimbleness. So let's look at hardiness first. Hardiness, you raise your maximum endurance by 2 points, or your wisdom, whichever is higher. All you have to do for hardiness is just change the value on the character sheet. If it's endurance, just add 2 points to the maximum endurance, and that'll take care of it. There's no active effect for hardiness. Nimbleness, you raise your parry rating by 1 point. In order to do that, for nimbleness, you need to add an active effect. And so you will go to Effects, you will add one, I call it Nimbleness, go to the Effects, Parry modifier, add 1. Hit Submit Changes, and then drag and drop that onto a character sheet. I also have Mastery on here. You choose 2 skills and make them favored. You just do that on the character sheet. Let me show you how to do that specifically. I'm going to have a video specifically on the character sheet, but let me show you just how you would do that. So for some of these, like if I am changing my endurance maximum, as long as it's a value here, I can change it to 28, I can change it to 29. That's how you would change those numbers, where you don't have to add an active effect. If I am doing favored or unfavored skills, you can't just click on the circle. Nothing happens. You have to hold down the Alt key, and then I can make song favored. And then if I want to unfavor it, I just click it again. Same thing with these skills. If you just click on the skills, nothing happens. But if you hold down Alt and left click, it will add. If you right click, it will... Actually, you have to fill them all up, and then it will... I thought that would clear them off. Well, Malvagil is going to be really good at song now. If I hover over here, it will tell me how to do this. Shift Alt click. There we go. Removes the level. See, you learn something new every day. There. So now he has no skill in song. That is how you do the virtues and rewards. You can go through and do for the cultural virtues. It's essentially the same idea. You know, if I do Elves of Linden, deadly archery, when using a bow and fighting in rearward stance, you may attempt the prepare combat task as a secondary action. I don't need to add an active effect. This is something that the player would recall and say, hey, I want to use my cultural virtue, and I want to take a shot and do prepare shot, and get the benefits of that. So the only ones that you need to do the active effects on are the ones that we have described, which for the virtues, that is going to be prowess, dour-handed, and nimbleness. And for the rewards, that is going to be keen, close-fitting, and reinforced. The rest of them, you just make the modification on the character sheet. I hope that this has been helpful. This is the biggest stumbling block that people have when playing the One Ring on Foundry, is how do I get these virtues and rewards to work. Again, look for the instructions that will tell you how to do it, or I've just shown you how to do all these things. Once you know how to do that, create the virtue or reward and then drag it onto the character. But if it's on an item, then you need to do it on the item and then drag it. But then I rename the item just so I don't accidentally give all of my characters a keen bow. Otherwise, I need to change it. So do yourself a favor, and if you make, here's a close-fitting helm, here's cunning make leather corselet, here's a close-fitting leather shirt, or here's a keen bow. I think I've got another keen short spear, things like that. So then just save that in your items, and when someone else gets a keen bow, I've already got it made, and makes it easy to do. I'll hopefully get a full character creation video up soon. And if there's anything else you'd like to see about the One Ring, how to play the game, or specific to Foundry, please let me know. Again, I'm not a pro at this. I didn't design the module. I just had to recall how to delete a skill, as you just saw. But I'm more than happy to share what I do know and see if we can't have fun playing the One Ring on Foundry. Thanks a lot, everybody.